I think this is coming out around the holiday. This is coming out around. This is our Thanksgiving episode.
Thanksgiving
so
episode,
like,
yeah.
hey, happy holidays! It's here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And as you're browsing, your craft stores for Christmas decorations, keep an eye out for some of the artwork because I guarantee you, some of it is going to be AI slop. Like, I don't know, is Michael's is still around? I think Joann's went out of business. Hobby Lobby,
yeah, it did.
100%. You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it happen more and more.
I already saw it at Goodwill when I was shopping for a Halloween costume. I don't remember like what it was. Maybe just some like pic, but I remember like calling Cleo and being like, "Look at this shit."
Oh.
So it's already been recycled into Goodwill, this AI products. We're already down that pipeline.
I hate what it's done to my ability to like look at art now, because if I see an image online, I don't even appreciate it at first. The first thing I do is I look at like the hands, and I look at the text, and I look at anything that's in the background that AI, like a lot of the times it's like cityscapes or like large groups of people, because it's like I think it does like an okay job of faking images close up. But if you look at like anything where it's like there's like a massive amount of something like people, they all just turn into like a blob, or like buildings have like lines that go nowhere, and it's just like I can't even like. It's like I don't trust anything on the internet anymore because I see an image, and I'm just like, I'm looking at the margins, I'm looking at the fingers, I'm looking at all the indicators to just be like, was this made by a person, or was this like a language, like a learning model that did this? It sucks.
Yeah, kind of like able to sort of like train for it by just like social media just turning to absolute dog shit, to where it's like, I'm not sure if this is real because this is, something that's, just because people lie about like to get like attention, like headline grabby attention, like clickbaity bullshit, or like they twist the truth to where you're like, you gotta do your own research sort of thing, because you don't fucking know, because of how just anybody can say anything online and people will run with it if it's something they want to hear. So in that sense, I was already like, I don't know if I trust this thing, but now it's like I can't even trust like cute animal videos or whatever. I'm like,
yeah,
like, have you seen the like the porch, what do you call that, like ring camera, like cats outside doing something cute? And then I remember Kalia showed me one, and she was like, I saw it, and I was like, it took me a minute to like build. I was like, I didn't have the heart to tell. I was like, this is fake. This isn't real. Yeah. And then, because I think the thing is that like, because those the camera quality of those is a little lower, it's easier. Like they look so convincing. They look really convincing because of the lower.
Same with like trail cam videos. There were a lot of trail cam videos. I think there was one of like, it was like bunnies jumping on a trampoline, and that one ended up being fake. Although I hate to give AI any sort of credit at all, but some of them have made me laugh. Where there was one that I sent to Connor earlier today, where it was like, is like your typical like Ring camera setup, where like an old lady opens the door and there's like a little kitty sitting on the porch, and she bends down to like pick up the cat, and then the cat just explodes and blows the woman away. So there's like a few of those that are like, they start out normal and then go insanely like there's like a chiropractor ones that I've seen, because that's like, God, we're going down a wormhole here. There's like a whole world of chiropractor content online where it's like people,
like AI stuff too, or like,
no, I mean, just in general, like a lot of chiropractors, in order to like promote their business, they'll get like those little Rode mic clip mics and they'll put them on like their patients.
No, I've seen these,
and they'll
I fucking hate that.
They'll crack their backs.
I hate it so much.
There's one that's like insane to me. It's like this old woman who's clearly suffering from like the worst case of scoliosis ever recorded. And like the entire time she's just like, oh. And he's just like grabbing her shoulder, lifting over, and then like, all right, exhale. And then he goes, bah! And she just, but now there's like AI ones that are obviously fake, because it starts out with like someone laying face down on the table. And then the guy's like, all right, blah, 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 doing like, he's like, all right, breathe out. And then he'll just pull out like a big mallet and like, bam! Or like they'll grab him by the head and throw him out the window of their office. So it's like, they're kind of funny when they're done to like extremes like that. But yeah.
If you want to ruin it for yourself though, when you see ones like that, you got to go to the comments. Cause I saw one just the other day it was another Ring camera animal thing. But in this one, it was a cat playing a tiny cat-sized drum set, and then this lady like comes out of the house, and she's like, Mr. Mittens, it's too late, you can't do that. And she like grabs the cat, and it like meows at her, and there were people in the comments who seemed to think that it was real. So
yeah. Or then I think there's like a certain subset of people that once they learn that it's AI, they just don't care because it's cute. They're just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, so what?
I mean, yeah, there probably are a lot of people like that who don't care about the I mean, I don't want to say that there's like a human or like artistic connection to somebody who genuinely filmed their cat doing something cute on the porch and then uploaded it. Like, I mean, something like that there still is, but I mean, it's weird. It's weird that people don't like care about like the soul of art, I guess, or like what art exactly is.
It's like it's a commodity now. It's a thing that I make that I can put online to attract views, to get followers, and then eventually like that will turn into like some sort of revenue.
Yeah.
And like that's really what it boils down to. Like, I want to get 1 million subscribers on YouTube with my fake AI slop, and then the more subscribers, the more views, blah 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 blah. Payday, I guess. I don't know. Oh. Yeah, instead of like setting up the camera or maybe doing a few takes where you're like trying to synchronize yourself up with the song, you're like, oh, that didn't really look right, so I have to redo it. I got to set the lighting up. I got to make sure this and this is right and this is right. If you just do like a prompt, if you just write a prompt, that's way easier. It's like it's nothing, and like it just turns it into a commodity. It just turns it into a means of like making money. Which like, I mean, I would love to be able to do this and like, make money off of it, or like turn it into like a job or like a career of some sort, like cultivate an audience. But it's just, I think it's like a balancing act between, maintaining your own like integrity and maintaining your own like artistic vision, and then like becoming the dancing monkey. Like, I think there's like a very fine line that you have to like cross, because it's like, it's like if we wanted to all right, we're going to take this whole year and we're going to make this podcast blow up. What we would do, we would like, make those like, have you ever seen like Conor O'Malley's TikToks that are like the like camera's Instagram constantly stuff, like moving probably, like this, and it's like shifting, and he's like, yo, bro, you talking? And he has like this microphone, and he's like doing like the Joe Rogan thing.
His podcast thing with like the one guy who's
it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I love his
man.
His co-host is just like, wow, like
yeah. It's like that's I mean, but it's like that's not the content that you and I necessarily would want to make, but that's the type of content that like gets views and clicks and gets engagements. So it's like, how do we be our authentic selves, but still like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I feel like I've joked about it before, but it's like, every episode, our thumbnails would have to be something like,
right, yeah,
just YouTuber face.
Yeah. Picture of the movie, or maybe just like a picture of like an actor in the movie, and
our heads photoshopped on the actor.
Oh yeah, that could be good. And like they did what?
Yeah, like exactly.
Yeah, you won't believe what we rated Dances with Wolves.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta take like some part in the middle and put that at the beginning as like the hook, and then they'll eventually get to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know the tricks.
That's why we're not successful. We know the tricks, and we could easily do them, but we just choose not to.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why we never win at the like film contest, because we're like, no, we're gonna do our stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Dances with Wolves, can you hear him?
I can hear a little bit. Is he
a little bit? He is like in nonstop. I'm like, yeah.
Well, I see like periodically
right now.
Periodically he jumps on your desk and you just pick him up and move him, and he just comes back.
Because he wants to play catch. And I'm throwing it, but like he won't.
He's never
he just won't stop.
Satisfied.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to There Will Be Duds. This is episode 196, and I am your co-host, TJ, and with me, as always, I am Nick. And as always, we watched a movie. The one this week, it was inspired by it being a Thanksgiving episode. It's, in a way, as about our history with the, that stuff. It's not about Thanksgiving, I should say. Anyways, the movie is Dances with Wolves from 1990, directed by Kevin Costner. It stars Kevin Costner as Lieutenant Dunbar, no relation to Hunter Dunbar from The Fanatic.
I forgot it.
He's a Union soldier who is sent to an outpost in, I don't know if they specifically say, but I saw that it was filmed in South Dakota. So, out west. He's sent to an outpost out west to kind of take over from the battalion or whatever that was there, only to find it abandoned. And so he waits for relief, but nobody comes because nobody knows he's out there. So he ends up encountering the native tribe of Sioux, or Lakota Sioux. Basically rips off Avatar, as everybody knows. No, it's but yeah, like it's obviously a lot of movies have kind of done. I feel like I've heard so many movies being like, oh, they just Dances with Wolves it, and then you see it,
or
like,
Pocahontas,
wow, yeah, it's like, or Pocahontas, sure, yeah, true. So yeah, then he kind of becomes part of the tribe, and yeah, his name given to him by them is Dances with Wolves, which is where the title comes from. So yeah, this was kind of a revitalization of the Western genre. The Western genre was like old. That's like what superhero movies are now, and
yeah,
we might be getting
that's a good
close.
way to put it.
We might be getting. I feel like we're getting closer, and I kind of feel like we passed Heaven's Gate, but the way movie studios work now, they just don't care. Heaven's Gate was a 1980 Western that was like super bloated, like huge budget, and just bombed, and it kind of like effectively killed the Western genre for a while.
Oh, okay. I saw that mentioned in the Wikipedia article.
Yeah. It's kind of like a legendary like bomb because of how, how big it was and how much it failed, and that kind of stuff was a lot more substantial back then. Like I said, like I feel like movies bomb all the fucking time now, but it just doesn't matter. And then so this one kind of brought it back. Not as much as it was obviously pre that, 40s, 50s and 60s westerns were fucking huge. But after this there was like, I think Silverado might have been right before this. Silverado was around here, Tombstone, Maverick, Wild Wild West. But I kind of had a comeback. I read that this was only the second, as popular as they were, this is only the second Western to win Best Picture after Cimarron in 1931, I think. But then there's been two more since this. Do you know, or did you look it up? Or
I saw it. One of them was No Country for Old Men, and then I don't know what the other one was.
The other one was right after this. It was Unforgiven, the Clint Eastwood movie.
Clint Eastwood. That's Gene Hackman and like Morgan Freeman. Yeah. Yes. I think I have a copy of that, but it's been on my to watch list.
Me too. I've heard it's great. I've heard it's really great. I really want to see it. But I haven't got around to that one either.
There's a lot of the old like classics that I've been meaning to watch. I did see The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly last year for the first time, and that was.
Have you seen the other ones? Like
I have
Fistful
not.
of Dollars and okay.
No, I
You've
want
seen
to.
Yojimbo and Sanjuro.
I've seen Yojimbo and Sanjuro, so I'm like, kinda.
They're cool though, in their own way. But
what is it? The Searchers. That's like another one. I think it's like a classic John Wayne one. Yep. Yeah.
Red River is great. That's Red River. High Noon is one of my I don't know. If I had to pick, that might be my favorite like classic Hollywood Western is High Noon with Gary Cooper and Grace Kelly.
Okay.
And I think what's his fucking name? Old dude, Martin Landau, I think is in that, or I'm thinking of, the Twilight Zone episode, Mr. Denton on Doomsday, because Martin Landau plays one of the bad guys in that.
Yes. That's in the first season. I think it's one of the first like 10 episodes. I think it's really early on.
Early. Mm-hmm.
Is that the one that he's like an alcoholic?
Yeah. And then he gets granted the like perfect quick draw and stuff.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm like a little familiar with the genre. But yeah, this is I which version of this did you watch? You didn't watch the 4-hour long one, did you?
I did. I did.
Oh shit.
Did you? Or did you watch the theatrical? Yeah, okay. Well, this is good. We can talk about the comparison.
Because what's funny is I have the DVD, the special edition DVD of this, and that's the 4-hour long one. But I just watched it on HBO, and it was like the standard 3-hour long one. Yeah, and
so we watched it on. I have it. I don't know why, but I have it on DVD and Blu-ray, so I have both versions.
That's funny.
But on HBO, she was like looked up and started, and I was like, oh, the extended one. I was like, it's 4 hours, and she was like, it's the only one on there, and I was like, okay, fine. So then we watched it, and then it ends, and I like back out, or no, it's like watch next, or it was like in recommended was Dances with Wolves, the theatrical cut. I was like, God damn it. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could have watched it on my physical, like if they didn't have it, I could have watched it that way. Yeah. But I was kind of like, it's a long movie already. If I'm gonna watch it, I might as well watch the whole thing. And it's like one of her favorite movies, and I don't think she'd seen the extended one before, so it's like, okay, we can watch it.
Yeah. Did you watch it in one sitting?
Yeah, we did. It was. I think we. No, yeah, we watched it in one sitting. Yeah.
Okay.
Took our own intermissions or whatever, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm really curious to see what was added, like what other stuff that they would have put in there, because I think the story really is not complicated enough to really warrant a 3-hour long movie. I'll just say that. Mm-hmm. There were things about this that I liked. I think the the visuals, like the cinematography, like the landscapes, everything about it was like
absolutely
magnificent.
Gorgeous.
Really pretty, like vistas and like natural landscapes. And for the most part, it felt very like realistic, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
And I think it's tough to review this in a modern lens because I do feel like there's a lot of like holes to fall into. Like you talk about like, you know, like the whole like white savior narratives. I feel like all these movies that have this element to them sort of get that. Like, I mean, Pocahontas, it's like the native with like the colonizers. I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time, The Last Samurai, is literally about Tom Cruise like learning how to fight with katanas and like dying on the battlefield with the Meiji, like fighting the Meiji government. He doesn't die. It's other guy, Ken Watanabe.
Watanabe, yeah.
But it's like, you know, it's like as enjoyable as those movies are, that's kind of always sort of like nagging at you a little bit. And I think for the most part, this movie does like, it seems to be pretty respectful, I guess. Like the Lakota people like love this shit. Like they adopted Kevin Costner. Like he's like an honorary member.
I think you do got to think of it like as like in its time, this was like incredibly like progressive with like just the fact that they show that it depicts Native Americans as like human beings.
Exactly. Yes.
And with like culture and, you know, feelings and stuff, and not just like nameless savages.
Right.
Is like a huge step. So I think it's like, you're not wrong. There is some stuff that's like feels slightly dated, and the white savior stuff, but like it doesn't bother me too much. You know, again, like considering the time it was released.
Right.
Maybe that's because I'm white though, and I'm like, hey, that's me. I'm the good guy.
As soon as he shaved his mustache, I was like, ugh, he's an uggo. He should have kept that mustache.
Know.
It looks so
usually,
good.
Yeah, a lot of times I'm like, I'm a pro shaver. Like I think a lot of guys look better shaved, but like because he has that beard at the beginning, and I was like, ooh, that looks a little grotty, but then he shaves it down to the mustache. I'm like, okay, now he looks like my dad. Cool. And then and then he shaves it, and he's like, oh, now he's Kevin Costner.
You look a baby face.
Yeah, I feel like his hair got a little longer, and it was just like,
it did, yeah.
I think the other thing is like when he has the mustache and like the slightly shorter hair, which makes sense that it was longer because I read that this was shot, which is not common, but it was shot except for like a couple bits, it was shot chronologically because they had to just go with the weather. They had to shoot like with because it goes from like into the winter or whatever.
So they just like, that's okay, interesting.
I think when he shaves it and he's got that little, then it's like, okay, now he looks like an actor from the 90s. Whereas before it's like he felt more believable as someone from the era. Yeah.
But yes, kind of going back to what we were talking about, it is interesting though that it's like the way the Lakota were portrayed were like these like very like human beings, but then it's like when the Pawnee were portrayed, they were sort of like the stereotype. So it's like kind of picking like a little bit of both lanes, which is like because it's like, well, these ones are they're the bad guys, and these ones are the good guys, and it's like that's that Western shit. That's that kind of binary like Western good guys and bad guys. No, exactly. I mean, you need conflict. I'm very surprised that like the colonizers were not more of a conflict. Because like
that, me too. Yeah,
because I was watching it and I'm like, there's like an hour left. Like, where's like I'm expecting there to be some. I'm expecting him to be discovered, which is like eventually what happens, but it's almost through happenstance. Because like I feel like in another story, it would basically be like they would just get encountered by the Americans, and then like one of them would look and be like, holy shit, is that Dunbar? Like they recognize him. But even this, they took him as a native. They had no idea who he was. And then it was like really only the last 40 minutes they were kind of like the central antagonist. I really thought it was going to be more of like a struggle, but
more like an Avatar where it's kind of like the military is like a threat the whole movie.
Right. It's like this looming thing. Like, maybe the movie would have shown like the Americans like, traveling a little bit, intercut with like all of the other stuff that he's doing, like as he gets to know the people and like barters with them and like, partakes in some of their rituals. There would be other shots of like, you'd see horses coming, and then maybe near the halfway point, the horses would like come over the ridge and they would see the abandoned base, and you're like, they're there.
I will say though, like with the structure that it is kind of like, like that is kind of what I was expecting. But then like the way that it's presented is just like, it kind of feels more natural. That's just like, okay, this is just kind of a look into this guy's experience or whatever. It would, maybe it would feel too movie. Yeah. If it was like structured like that. So, I was also kind of feeling that, but then like, it kind of has like chapters in a way. Like before he meets them, when he starts to like be involved, and then like the last little chunk or whatever, which, man, I obviously like I'm an animal guy. And then they kill his horse. I'm like, oh man, and I'm like so bummed. And then they kill his dog too. They kill both of his animal companions. I'm like, you couldn't have just done one. Yeah. And then like he gets the shot of him, like he's like outside, or maybe they're taking him away, and he like looks and he sees like the crows like pecking at his horse's corpse. Oh, there's some really like, and I don't know, I'm like, is this just from one angle you could be like, oh, this is just some Oscar baity like heartstring like pulling bullshit, but I don't know, I thought the emotional payoff and all that, or I don't know if that's like, but the emotional beats like really worked for me, even if they were a little like, here for instance, other than the animal deaths, which are an easy emotional pull for most people, especially the dog, But like there's the part when he's leaving the camp at the end, and Wind in his hair on the cliff is like, he's like, can't you see that I'm your friend, which is a callback to like when he first sees him, and he says, when they're first seen together, and he says, can't you see that I'm not afraid of you, or whatever. He's like, I am wind in his hair, can't you see that I'm not afraid of you? Yeah. And then in the end he says, I am wind in his hair, can't you see that I'm your friend? And I was like, I recognize that felt kind of schmaltzy, but it worked so much for me. I almost like teared up at that part. I thought that was a very, very like cathartic, like powerful ending. I really liked that. Yeah. When the Americans show up, boy howdy, does the movie like, dude, I was like, let's see some white boys die tonight. It really does a good job of like making you absolutely despise them. Like literally the scene where they're like shitting in the hayfield or whatever, and they don't have toilet paper, so they rip out a page of his diary to wipe his ass with. I'm like, I want some white boys to die. Kept it. He kept it and said he didn't have it, and then he was like flipping through it, and he's like, I can't read. And I'm like, like, why are you doing? Yeah. It's like like we're saying, they're not in it as antagonists for that long, but they really make up for it. They're like, the amount of hatred that you feel, it's so condensed. They're only in like the last half hour, 45 minutes or whatever, but they make up for lost time in a real big way. They kill White Sox, like that dog. Two socks that's and right. Cisco. Yes. That wolf was great too. Like the way that like all the animals in this movie were like insanely good. I did read that they got some like animatronic buffalo for like, I think the scenes where like they killed them. But also on the IMDb trivia, it said that like whenever they shot like the buffalo stampede, they could only do it like once per day, because when buffaloes stampede, they go for like miles. Just go. Yeah, because they're wild animals, basically. Yeah. So all the handlers basically spent the rest of the day like herding them back, and it took like an entire day to do. But that's speaking of the buffalo scene, that was incredible. I thought that was like, that is the good shit with like, and why this feels more like, I don't know, like, just movies that actually shoot things and are, it's the realism aspect of it.
This is
where
the
it's
antithesis
like, wow.
of the Coca-Cola ad that we were talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That like, they're actually like Kevin Costner was out there on horseback. The other like the natives or the like extras and the actors and whatever were out there on horseback in the middle of, I don't know if they had all of them, but I read that the herd on that herd is like part of like some nature preserve or something like that. That's where they shot that. It was like there's like 3,000 of them or whatever total. I'm sure there weren't 3,000 in that, but like still there's hundreds of bison just running, and it was crazy. It was so cool, so like spectacular. I'm like, this is you watch a scene like that and you're like, this is a fucking movie, like that's the shit that like only the movies can do. Or
and maybe
like
think of like
the scale and all that.
Maybe think of Brokeback Mountain too. There's like the scene with all the sheep herding. And how that was like done practically as well. And that's another like really, I mean, you want to talk about like a revitalized revisionist Western. Brokeback Mountain is 100% like that should be in that list with Unforgiven and No Country for Old Men and Cimarron for winning Best Picture.
Yes,
like
it's
really unfortunate that one's not in there.
Tell me about it. And it lost to Crash, which, if you want to talk about movies that haven't held up.
When he meets the love interest, I thought it was an interesting way to approach it also, because usually in these stories, I feel like the sort of like white interloper meets someone that's like of that like class or race. Like he would I feel like in a normal situation he would have like fell in love with another native woman, and like there would have been some tension there where it's like, no, he's the white man, you can't marry him, but like she actually loves him. I thought it was another interesting twist where it was another white woman that had been like taken as a child. And it was it's Donnie Darko's mom. That's also like the first thought.
Mary McCormick.
Yeah. But I immediately thought of the Comanche. Are you familiar with this? Are you familiar with the Comanche?
Like they're like the tribe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's I think there's a book called Empire of the Summer Moon, not Killers of the Flower Moon. But I think there's like a very famous Comanche story where I think they either kidnapped or something happened where like they took a white woman, like a little girl, and like raised her to be Comanche. And then I think that
happened. I think like there's
her
multiple
family,
stories about that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's just like one that like I think is like a famous one that like people talk about a lot.
Is it the one who like her son ended up becoming like a war chief?
Yes, that's the one.
And
that's the one.
Yeah, and he was like the last war chief of that tribe or something like that.
Yes, I think that's the one that I'm thinking of. So when I
saw
that, I wasn't sure if the movie was like maybe doing like a subtle nod to that, or like I guess that like situation happening. But yeah.
That was kind of what made me think. I was like, well, maybe that's why they are just straight up treating him like he's an Indian, is because it was known that they would do that. They would take in and they would essentially be one and the same. And I was like, maybe that's, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't like justify their actions or whatever. They could have also just been treating him like an Indian because like, well, he's dressed like him. He's lost to us. He's woke. So, he's, we got to treat him like he's a minority.
Yeah. Woke movie.
Like a good, a Western that's like shot well can make like generally South Dakota is not like when you think of like the West and you're thinking of like these beautiful landscapes, it's not usually that, because that's like a plain state, like the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas. Those are the grassy plains states. Yeah. But they make it look cool. Like there's a scene where he's still traveling to the fort. So he's with the drunk or the like hillbilly guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's off the wagon. He's just kind of like standing in a field of wheat, and he's doing it's kind of like the cliche, but he's kind of like got his hands and he's like rushing it along.
He's like doing the gladiator thing.
The wheat tips. Yeah, exactly that. But he's just standing in this wheat field, and like it's just a wheat field, but it looks cool. It's the grand, you see the like big sky and the open field behind him and stuff.
Yeah.
And then just the area where the fort was really nice. Had that little hill, the little river.
Yeah.
It was very like cozy. It was like it was like the perfect little like Minecraft house, like spawn place. Like
it's like he's like he made his house all of dirt before the mob spawned at nighttime.
It was a sod house, right? He quick throws up a dirt house, and perfect. And then he finds a village and trades with the different villagers. Replace the like the Lakota dialogue with just the Minecraft villager sound effects.
It's just Graham Greene sitting there, and he's like,
yeah.
I think partially like why some of those vistas did seem beautiful is because I don't know if there's many spots like this in Michigan, but the idea of like being somewhere and you can see for like possibly like 50 miles because it's just all I think would still just be like, I would still be like, wow. If I drive, like, because I know
it has a better effect on us,
because like I am not used to being able to see like that far out and just seeing like, I mean, even flatlands. I don't know. You've like traveled cross country before and driven through.
I was gonna say when we were driving out, because we drove through. I've been through South Dakota before, but just last month we went through North Dakota, which is very similar. And even that, which I think a lot of people like, and don't get me wrong, there are stretches where you're kind of like, okay, we've been in here a while, but where I think a lot of people would just find that as like the most mind-numbingly boring stuff. But I'm just like, hey, I can see far, and don't get me wrong, I love how foresty. I love all the trees in Michigan. I love that about our state. But it is really cool to just be able to see a long distance. You're like, that town is like 20 miles away from us, and I can see it.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy.
That's like the distance from like here to like Grand Rapids or something like that, and I can see it. And it's wild. Okay. Extended edition stuff, because I did want to talk about this. Because having, so I don't know, I basically counted this as a first time watch, because I was like, I know I'd seen it when I was a kid, but I remembered next to nothing about it. So I was like, I was basically watching this treating this as a first time. Okay, so with that said, like I didn't know going into it, like I would not have known like what was the difference between like extended stuff, what was the additional scenes and all that or whatever. But there were I feel like I know at least some, because it felt so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like
it felt like stuff that they could have left on the cutting room floor.
Yes, like stuff where I'm like, this is obviously something they cut out because this is not necessary. Like, whereas the opposite of this is like the Lord of the Rings. Like, I only watch the extended editions.
Yeah,
and
same.
I feel like you somebody who doesn't like love those movies as much as I do could maybe watch the extended ones and be like, yeah, there's just too, because there is stuff like I'm thinking of like in Fellowship. There's the scene where they see the trolls from The Hobbit. They're like they're the statues, and Sam just like, look, Frodo, it's Bilbo's trolls, and they talk about him for a little bit. It's a callback to the Hobbit. It's something that happens in that. That, like, for instance, that's something that like it doesn't affect the story, nothing like that. Yeah. But I love the world of that so much, and I love those so much that I'm like, I will take everything I can get. And I wish I felt that like with this movie, but it was just so obviously like unnecessary, and to where I'm just gonna say, I'm pretty sure you watching the theatrical version do not know why Fort Sedgwick was abandoned.
As far as I can remember, no, there's no reason given for why it's abandoned.
Okay, it's not anything like profound, but that I'm just using that as an example of like, this feels like something that would be in an extended edition, because and probably the most prominent example of like something that I think actively hurts it makes it worse, because it's not bad. But you get a couple scenes of whatever, the captain of the regiment that was there.
Okay.
And he's like, you get a couple scenes of him like looking at his telescope, like at the horizon, seeing if anybody's coming, basically. And then you get a scene of him coming back to camp, and he's like waking everybody up, and he's like, all right, I know we've been here, you know, we've lost all our shit. We've been here too long. He's like, nobody's coming for us. To hell with the army. Let's get out of here. So they leave because they've run out of provisions. They've just been there so long. They're basically like just going stir crazy. So they just leave. And I remember, and then you get to where Kevin Costner shows up, and he's like, "What happened?" He's so confused. And I remember thinking like, that has to be added in. And also, it feels like it's a better thing if you don't see that, if you don't know what happened. It's way more like effective if he shows up and you don't know, like, just nobody's there. Whereas like if you see that, you're like, oh well, okay, he's gonna get there, it's gonna be abandoned. It's like you already know what's gonna happen. But like if you didn't see any of those scenes and you were in the same, you saw the same stuff that Kevin Costner did, it's like ominous, it's scary. It adds to the mystery of like, were they killed by Indians? Do I need to worry about these Indians coming by? But you see the extended one, you're like, oh no, they just left.
Yeah, because I think those first few nights that it shows him there, he's like kind of paranoid. Like he hears sounds, he's like sleeping with his gun. He's like very much like on edge, because he's like at any minute people could show up and sneak attack on him because he's the only person there. Yeah, like you said, if that central mystery is sort of removed, it's like a Roanoke situation or something like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's kind of, it's more interesting if you don't have the answers. It's a mystery or whatever. But also just it like pacing wise, it made it feel like, aside from that, it made it feel weird pacing wise. And then there's a website called Movie Censorship. I don't know why it's for this, but it's called Movie Censorship, and they usually have those.
Yep.
Yeah, they do for this one. There's 38 new scenes, 15 extended scenes, alternative footage, text, postponed scene. I don't know what that means. 38 extended and 15 new. So yeah, it looks like there's a lot that are just like, it's really nice because it has timestamps, it marks.
Yeah, this is pretty wild.
It looks like a bit of stuff with the guy that shoots himself. So wait, did you see the guy who was like the leader of the military at the end? He was the one who was kind of like a little more nice, I guess. Like he was kind of being like, hey, don't, you can't touch him. We need to like make sure that he's.
Is it the scene where they go to like they go to the campfire and it's extinguished, and it looks like he's got like a native person with him, almost as like a translator or like someone to like.
No. You mean at the very end?
Yeah.
No. This guy dies in that when all the white guys are killed.
Okay.
By the
How does he die? How does he die?
This guy, Charles Rocket is his name.
Okay. Does he get the axe in the chest?
Yes, I think he's the first one that dies.
Had
you seen him before that?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Because he's in that scene with the guy who assigns Kevin Costner to his post who kills himself. He's like in that with them.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like waiting for them to address that. Like I was waiting for him to be like, wait a minute, I know you.
Yeah.
But then again, in their lives, they only saw each other for a couple minutes, and it was like a year prior. So I guess it makes sense that they don't.
Yeah, apparently there's a scene where after that dude shoots himself, there's like a bunch of kids come and like look at the window and you see the blood on it. It's like sort of investigated. Yeah, that does not happen in the theatrical cut. He just shoots himself and then the movie continues.
Ooh, you don't get the scene of him. You didn't get the scene of him carrying all the deer corpses out of the water?
Ugh, no.
That's pretty gnarly. I looked it up. They had a roadkill person.
I saw that.
Who they like. Ugh. That's how they. Because we were watching, I'm like, man, those look real. Those look really real. And I was like, but they can't just like kill deer for this. So I guess they had a guy go around and like collect deer carcasses like that had been roadkill and use them in that scene, and then Kevin Costner just like lugging them out of this water. Yeah, that's gnarly.
I mean, again, like you said, that it looks like a real movie, and it's because they did a lot of real stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Wow, there's a lot. Okay. There's one where like another scene with him in two socks. Oh, that's a pretty lengthy one. Just one of the scenes with the Indians before he shows up. Okay. Yeah. Like so far there's like a interesting, like maybe the deer one is like it's kind of interesting, but other than that, most all this stuff I'm like, yeah, I think I would be fine with like all of this stuff being cut. Maybe the thing with two socks, because I honestly felt like maybe because it's in the title, I guess I was expecting a little bit more. I mean, you get what you get. You get their like bond or whatever, but oh shit. What's the first time that you see Stands with a Fist?
The woman?
Yeah.
I think it's the scene when he finds her when she's like cutting herself.
That's the first. Okay. Yeah. So in this, you see the fight where like her husband dies.
Oh.
And then like they tell her, and she's like, that also seems more interesting if you don't know why she's like cutting herself or whatever.
Yeah, because then later on when he's like hanging out with them, she's like kind of distant, because I think it's like, it's one of those things where she recognizes that she has feelings for him, but is also the whole like mourning thing seems less like it seems less like a personal thing you go through, and it's more like a cultural procedure almost, where like everyone knows, no, you can't do this. You are in mourning right now, and it's it's like, well, everybody mourns differently, but this is like, no, this is like part of our like culture, is like you are in mourning, which made me, there was like one scene that made me laugh where at one point Kevin Costner's like, how long will she cry? And I'm like, damn, dude. He's like, he's like, come on. It's like,
he's like, oh, your husband died? That's crazy. Yeah. So
yeah, dude. It's
he's like, you're so pretty, don't cry.
It's like the scene in Scream when it's like after Billy gets arrested, and then it's like they're in school the next day.
Or I think I know what you're gonna say.
And he basically he's like, yeah, like your mom died. My mom is gone too. He's like, well, he's like, maybe it's time to get over it. And she's like, my mom got like raped and murdered. Your mom just left. It's not the same thing. And Billy's just like, you just need to like get over it so I can smash.
Yeah. At least they're supposed to be teenagers, and that feels like a very teenage boy thing to say and just like not consider.
Yeah. You got a one-track mind. But yeah, I got a kick out of that when he's like, damn, how long is she gonna cry for?
Yeah. Not like the Lord of the Rings movies. I would probably just watch the theatrical version.
Yeah, I think the extended cut, I think the proper order to watch these in obviously is the theatrical cut first.
Yeah,
because
probably.
Then if you're a super fan, you're like, damn, I'm really into this, and I know all of the beats of the story, and I totally know what's going to happen, and I know how it goes.
I think
then
you're right.
You watch the extended cuts, because then you're like, you're like, oh, now you know why the post was abandoned. It's like, okay, you get a little bit of like, you get these like lore dumps in these little spots, but I think that stuff's only really effective after you've already seen like the main movie. Because like those are the like the interesting parts that kind of keep you invested and curious about like these characters' motivations. But if like it sounds like with the extended cut, you just sort of get everyone's motivations like handed to you. Like, here it is. This is it. Did you know? It's like
yeah, definitely. I do think that is probably what I should have done. But like I said, in my head, I was just like, well, if I'm gonna be wasting all this time on it anyways, it's like what's another hour in a sense. There's probably like I'm sure if I had seen the movie a few times, I probably would have enjoyed that stuff more.
Yeah.
But not really. No, like knowing the movie. It just kind of felt, a lot of that extra stuff just felt like distraction. Like I was like, I just want to get back to like the meat or whatever.
Yeah. I think I read on the back of the DVD that I don't know if it's on the DVD or maybe on the Wikipedia page, but I think the original runtime was like 5 hours.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is insane.
Which, you know what else is fucking insane? The fucking budget for this movie was like $20 million. Fucking crazy. And like for all this, just how grand the movie is, how like long it is, just how much footage they must have shot for it. And they had to build the sets were like not houses and stuff, but they were still sets, the village, his little ranch or his the fort or whatever, like and then I guess you could it was probably cheap to just go shoot some scenes in the field. Sure, like that was probably very, very, very cheap. Then you got all the stuff with all the buffalo. You got, I mean, there's some epic scale scenes in here. So it's insane that it was that cheap.
It's quaint, isn't it?
Yeah, right. It's insane. And then how expensive movies are now, and how fucking shit they are. How much did fucking Tron Ares cost to make?
I almost want to use that now as like the baseline. Is like, does it look better than Dances with Wolves versus like how much it costs? And it's like,
right.
This is kind of a failure then, I guess.
Yeah.
How do we feel about the narration? I was like very mostly miss over hit with like his narration. There was a certain way that his voice sounded when he was reading like the overdubbed lines where I could not place what it reminded me of, but I don't know if it reminded me of like,
I'll tell you.
Okay, maybe you can read my mind.
I don't know. Say what you want to say. I don't know. Because I don't know if you've seen this, but
were you going to say Blade Runner?
No.
Okay. Just like the way that his voice sounded kind of whiny as he's reading his diary entries. I don't know, it made me think of like the Professor Brothers or like China, Illinois, which is funny because he is in an episode of China, Illinois, and he like hangs himself at the end of it. There's like a totally convoluted episode where like the dean like cracks down on the school because I don't know if people are cheating or something happens, but they need like a scapegoat, and like I think they say that Kevin Costner is going to be it, but none of them know Kevin Costner in real life. And then through some random happenstance, Pony ends up in Kevin Costner's car, and she lures him to the college campus. And then he like finds out that they're planning on like scapegoating him to kill him for like something. And then he like basically allows it. He's like, Pony, you're like so cool that like, you know, this is worth it to me. And then at the end of the episode, he just runs really, really fast and then jumps headfirst into a noose and hangs himself. But it's actually Kevin Costner doing the voice. And China, awesome. Illinois is so good. It's so funny. But his voiceover, I don't know, it was just like kind of whiny. I couldn't place specifically what it made me think of though.
So for me, I was like, it was that is a gripe that I have with the movie. I loved the text. I thought there were some really eloquent like phrases. The way that he just like, I love like, for instance, I'm nearing the end of East of Eden, and that has a lot of this too, where it's just kind of like long bits where it's just kind of describing Salinas Valley and like the brown grass. I don't know. I like that stuff. Just people kind of like, you know, talking about nature and stuff, and musing on their thoughts about it or whatever. But I felt not like he was whiny, but he just, and it's weird because like, I mean, you know, his character, otherwise his acting in the movie is good. You know, he does a good job in his, you know, role. But it felt like somebody, like the one reading was like somebody who had never acted before. Like he forgot. He's like, Dad, can you read this for me? Because he was just like, I pull up a line. He's just like, have arrived to find Fort Cedric deserted. Am now waiting for the garrison's return or word from headquarters. Post is in exceedingly poor condition. Have decided to assign myself cleanup duty beginning tomorrow. Just very droll and boring.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you reading it like this? But what it reminded me of, and maybe it's a little on the nose, was like, have you seen Ken Burns' Civil War documentary?
My dearest Clementine, I regret.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it felt like one of those.
I did note Ken Burns only because like the music sometimes reminded me of like what a Ken Burns like documentary would sound like. But I totally see that. It's like, I think that kind of here's what I'll say about like the voiceover is like, I think they should have just been more picky with what journal entries made it to voiceover, because I think things where he's basically describing the conditions, it's like, no, it's kind of like Blade Runner in the sense where like the studio thought that the audiences would be too stupid to pick up on like little subtleties, and so they had to have like Harrison Ford come back in and like basically narrate the actions that are happening on the screen. Like the journal entry that you just read where he's like talking about the conditions being poor, it's like, yeah, we can see that. No, we know. We know you're like anxious about this place. You don't know how long you're going to be here. You don't know like what happened to the previous people that were going to be here. Like you can convey all of that with like visual stuff, like acting, just like kind of looking around. You can do, you know, camera stuff to kind of convey this idea. But then it's like the other journal entries that are like actually like his monologues, like his thoughts, as opposed to just like keeping a record for like the next group or something like that, where he's like talking about like, there's like that one entry where he's like, everything that I thought about these people was wrong. They have like very like deep, interesting inner lives, and like they laugh and they play and they talk and they do all of these things and they have cultures and traditions.
Yeah,
that stuff is like, that's good. Keep that in there. I think that's a good diary entry to kind of, that's more of a complex thought that's harder to just convey purely visually with like him sort of pondering or reacting or whatever. So it's like that stuff I feel like is good to keep in. But all the other like diary entry stuff where he's like talking about like, I changed my socks today, and that's like, all right, cool, man. We don't really need that.
Yeah, I will say and it's not all that like literal descriptive, but I didn't mind the more stuff that was just describing the scenes in that the first act or what have you, like basically when it's just him at the fort, because it's kind of interesting because like until he starts like communicating with the Sioux, I realize like other than his narration, he barely says anything for like the first hour or so. And so it's just kind of nice to have like, oh, well, you know, he's sharing his thoughts and like you're kind of getting some insight despite, you know, him not really showing much. And like, so I didn't mind it because it kind of felt like a documentary or like a book in that way in that opening section. But then when there's a lot more going on and then he's just describing stuff, I'm like, okay. But yeah, to the point of like where he's describing like more his feelings about stuff. There was a really good one where it's somewhere around the midpoint where they're like having a celebration around like the fire, and then I think most of the scene or maybe the entire scene is just him like not really, he's just like watching and then his narration. And it's the one where he realizes that they're celebrating because they have like they killed like a bunch of white guys. I think they were the ones that maybe skinned the buffalo earlier. They killed a bunch of white guys, and I think maybe you see their like heads on like, or maybe you see like their scalps or something like that. And then like, and it's him just talking about like how kind of his emotional like disparity between like I'm close to these people now and I'm understanding them more, and yet we have this disconnect because I am white,
right?
And, you know, I can't celebrate this, you know, because, you know, and I like that, and it ends with him just kind of like sleeping just like on the ground like outside of the camp or whatever. So that's a good example of a
and the way that he talks about when he's like talking to Graham Greene's character, who is like asking him about like, hey, so what do you know about the white man? Like, like what are their plans? And he's like really, really cagey about it. Like he doesn't really want, because he doesn't have the heart to tell him that like, yeah, it's going to be bad. They are going to outnumber you in ways that you can't imagine, and they outweapon you, and it's not going to be good. And then you finally have that scene at the end where he's just like, they're coming, and there's going to be so many of them. And Graham Greene's just kind of like, I figured as much.
Yeah. Yeah, you even get I really had no idea like how like where this movie was gonna end. So like I wasn't necessarily expecting him to like leave at the end. And then like again, like both of his animals get killed. I'm like, Jesus, this movie is just, it's really miserable at the end. And then you get the slight uplift of Smiles a lot, who's the younger kid, who gives him his journal. Like he saved it. And it's like, oh, okay, there's something.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of uplift, right? And then he's like, sweet, peace. And then they're like going away on their horses up that mountain. And then you get the like post text, and it's like
13 years later,
the last like free Sioux tribe surrender. It's like, cool. Great. But yeah, there's like no, it's a pretty a lot more downer than I was expecting of an ending. I was not expecting it to be so
And yet the movie does kind of feel very like affirming and uplifting in a lot of ways.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, like, you know, as far as like his character development and like their group feels like they, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like nothing was gained or anything that, you know, but and I mean that's just how it went. So, you know, it's just
I was thinking of the Come Town bit. It was like, go on, Derek. Speak a little Lakota for him. Because it's like, damn, he picked up on that language real fast.
Yeah.
And when he switches to it and he basically does the same thing that the previous guy did with him, where he's just like, I'm Dances with Wolves and I'm not afraid of you and I have nothing else to say to you right now. And they're all just like looking at him flabbergasted.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I think it was like between when he shows up to the fort and no, because it's unless they skip over it, it has to be like less than a year, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's a full calendar year. He like picks up on the language really fast.
Okay. Yeah. They should have maybe like said that like, yeah, a year passed, or, you know, cuz yeah, that is a little unbelievable that he was like that, you know, or maybe it's just like that's the old-timey thing. He's like, "Hey, I literally have nothing else to do. There's no video games or anything, so I'm just going to study your language like all day."
I don't have short form video to brain rot to, so I guess I got to do something else.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe that's how it worked back then, you know. You could actually like put your mind to things and like, you know, become better at, you know, various skills and languages. And,
yeah,
you know.
Dude, I think about that shit. It's like you read about like people from history, and it's like, oh yeah, they studied this and they were well read and they learned like people used to learn multiple languages. That was just like part of like they just did it.
I know.
And now it's like I feel like people are barely literate now.
Yeah. Yeah, we're reverting. We're reverting as like a society, yes. An educated society.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta touch grass, baby. Gotta go out and touch grass.
Yeah. Go out and touch some wheat fields. Connect with nature.
Just go out and stand in the plains and look around and like think about stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, you know, drive through, because we drove through a few of these, just drive through an Indian res town and then, you know, just think of like all the good that our country and our government has done for these people who lived here. Because, oh boy, it's so clearly like they're not in good shape.
Nope.
It feels so shitty. It's like it's miserable driving through those. So, you know.
You want to move on to scores?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
We left off on a dour note, just like the movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
so, you know, it's fitting. I don't. Am I going first? Is it me?
Whatever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. 6 feels a little too low, so I'm gonna go with like a mid 7. I guess I'm going with a mid 7. And that's for the theatrical cut. I think if I watched the extended cut, I probably would have gone lower, just because it sort of sounds like it was kind of a bit of a slog to get through. But I'm going to the mid 7 mostly because I do think the spectacle of this movie really elevates it. I think, you know, those shots of like the planes, the shots of like all of the animals, like everything felt so realistic and so gorgeous, and just like so much of it was just pretty to look at. It felt very, very authentic in a way that like movies back then can feel like, and it like it bums me out that a lot of movies these days don't look like that anymore, or like aren't interested in looking like that anymore because it's too hard and it's just easier to just do VFX for it, or we'll fix it in post. The story's pretty simple. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I think all the acting performances are like pretty decent as well. I mean, I think Costner's good in this until he shaved his mustache, and then it bummed me out a lot. But yeah, I think it. You know, we kind of started out the conversation talking about like the pratfalls that you kind of run into with like this sort of like white savior revisionist type of history, and I was pleasantly surprised with, you know, how well I think this movie did with that stuff. Where it's to the point where it's like, oh wow, this isn't just like a total whitewashing like white savior movie. So yeah, mid 7 for me. I thought it was pretty decent.
Nice. Yeah, so for the extended cut, I want to say this. I went with a 7, but with the caveat of like, I feel like if I watched sorry, did I say I meant extended? The one that I watched, I'm giving it a 7. Yeah. And that's what I'm going to go with for my official ThereWillBeDuds letterboxed ranked list score. But I'm like, it's with like, maybe, I don't know, with an asterisk or whatever. Maybe it's an 8 with an asterisk. Just, I feel like if I had watched the theatrical one, it would maybe be an 8. So like, you know, maybe eventually down the road, I'll rewatch it again and I'll do the theatrical next, and maybe I'll give it that. Cause, yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I really love like watching a new, like, epic Western. Love that. It does that pretty well. The scale and stuff. Yeah. The bison hunt scene was insane. Big, like, yeah, somewhat not like a sprawling story, but I like that there's kind of like, it's a simple story, but there's also kind of like a lot going on, like a lot of stuff happens. I was surprised. In my head, I thought Wes Studi was a much more prominent character, but he's in like 2 scenes. He's the leader of the Pawnee in this, but you for sure have seen him in other stuff. He's one of the, I would say, I don't know what, but you've probably seen him and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought he was in it more. But yeah, I love the characters, the relationships that he bonds. I love the wind in his hair was maybe my favorite character. I honestly, like, I'm glad that like the rest of it was so good that it helped pick me up, and maybe this is why I feel like the extended cut kind of hurt it a little more, is because it stretches out that beginning segment, which I think is the weakest, because like you get the weird guy that kills himself, which is just a strange scene. You get the most like Oscar scene ever, which is like the first scene where it's when he rides the second time on his horse and he like does this, he like stretches his arms out and it's like slow motion. And I was like, oh my God, this is what they played for like every like award this was nominated for that Oscar season. It's like, and Dances with Wolves.
Yes.
And it's good, like, oh my God, that was so cliche. And so it kind of started off on like a little weak of a foot where I was like, this is so like kind of bad Oscar baity stuff. But then it really earned itself back by just the great cinematography and scale of it, and then just I was just really into like all the different relationships with humans and animals alike, and the payoff, good and bad, with those was really it really worked for me. So it is I'll say a strong 7, potentially an 8 if I'd have watched the theatrical one. So yeah, cool. So, yeah, I'm sure you probably saw my review. Maybe I don't know.
No, I saw it.
Have you read the book? I feel like we've talked about this before. Have you read the book?
I have not, but apparently We finished the movie. We're talking about Frankenstein, by the way.
Yes, yeah, the
Guillermo del Toro. We finished it, and I was like, man, I should read that book. And then Chloe's like, you bought it. I was like, what? And I was like, wait, what? When did I buy it? And she's like, you bought it like last year. And sure enough, I did buy a copy of it and totally forgot. And I was like, why did I buy that? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, it was probably one of my passing phases where like I saw something online, or I like had a moment where I was like, I should read that. And then I bought a copy of it, and then I never touched it. So I do have it. And now I am curious to read it.
It's great. If I haven't told you before, it is one of my favorite books. Like, I love it. It's easily it's easily my favorite book of anything pre, like 1900 or whatever. Any really old book, it is my number one for sure.
Yeah.
It has such a great I love everything that it's like, that it's kind of about. God damn, I hate how much I forget words when we're recording.
Yeah.
But just the way that it talks about like what it is to like exist and to be, and what life is, and like the responsibility of like creating life and all that stuff. And I love the way that the language that it has about that, like the way that the monster he has so many great like monologues and just musings on life, and like it's so good. It's so good. He's such a good character. And I am typically not a person, as was discussed prominently on our Battle Royale episode. I am not a person who, and I love that book too. I also really like the Battle Royale book. I am not a person who thinks that every movie adaptation has to be exactly like the book,
Right.
But, and I will say this is closer to the book than a lot of versions.
There were definitely some lines that came out, and I was like, that sounds like something
like
that
old timey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with like when I was watching Hill House, which I think we talked about like off pod, but like there were definitely some lines in Hill House where I'm like, that's Shirley Jackson speaking. That is not like Mike Flanagan or whatever.
I think there were some here and there. Like mostly I could feel in the monster. Maybe that's just because that's the section of the book that I remember the most. Which I did like. This at least kept that. It kept like, it starts with like Frankenstein being picked up by the ship captain, and then he tells his story, and then the monster tells his story. And that is how it works. That is how it goes in the book. But like immediately I was kind of turned off, because it starts with like an action scene where the monster's like ripping dudes apart, and I'm like, this is not this. This feels stupid. This feels like below. I don't know. I mean, Guillermo del Toro is like kind of a prestigious director in a sense. I mean, he does kind of indulge in like kind of schlocky fun stuff too, but this feels like it's trying to be more serious. And you're starting with this bullshit.
The only other GDT movie that I've seen is Pan's Labyrinth. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't really seen anything else that he's done.
Okay.
Chloe watched Pinocchio a couple years ago when that came out. She liked that one decently.
It was okay. Yeah.
But
animation's really cool.
There's a scene in Pan's Labyrinth, because when I watched it, I didn't really. The only thing I really knew about it was like the eyeball hands. I knew about him, and I knew sort of like that sequence. I did not realize that it was like a backdrop to like, I think it was World War II.
Yeah.
And there is a scene of such gratuitous violence where it's like
it's like the glass bottle or something like that, or
literally it's like these two guys that get kind of picked up by I think they're Nazis. It's been a few years since I've seen it, but
they're Spanish, but they're part of the Axis, or at the very least.
Yeah, they get picked up, and like the older guy's kind of giving him a little bit of lip, like giving him some sarcasm, and the dude hits him with the bottle, and then like continues to hit him with the bottle until his like head basically like caves in, and it's so affecting, it's so shocking with how violent it is, but it also like makes you just like, Jesus Christ, these guys are scary and they mean business. And it's like kind of historical, so it's like this is like shit that could have actually happened. What I'm saying is like the violence felt intentional, and it wasn't done for like, hell yeah, that rocked. Yeah. And then contrast that with this. It's just like there's like CGI, like guys getting like, there's a scene where the monster. Sorry, I won't fall into that trap.
Whatever.
No, I know. The monster like finds the blind guy.
Or whatever.
The monster finds the blind guy being eaten by the wolves, and he like does some shit, like he like rips the head off like one of the wolves, like peels its like skin, so you see it's like, it almost looks like the wolf in like The Thing, where you see like its exposed head, and I think he rips another guy's jaw off. It just felt so jarring and like gratuitous, and it's just like, no, and like in something like Pan's Labyrinth, that level of violence was so minimal, but it was like the same level of grotesque and like shocking, but it was done on such a small scale that it was like very impactful, to the point where like that's one of the things that I remember the most about that movie, was like how that scene made me feel, because it's like how depraved and bad that these guys were. And again, it's just like doing Marvel stunts while CGI blood pours out of guys' faces as he rips their jaws off.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of it in like the kind of macro scale of the whole movie, of how, like, I was mainly just thinking of that first scene, although I do remember the other action scenes feeling like, the violence, it's just, it is, it's just overly gratuitous, and it feels very out of place. Like, the scene with the wolves is just, why are we doing this? Like, it feels like a different movie in those moments, because it turns around, like, it's trying to be like a moody sort of thoughtful,
I think it's a hard sell if you're gonna make the creature like this very like thoughtful, like sort of meditative character that's like like the way that the creature feels about his own existence and being brought into this world, and it's like, I didn't ask to be brought here, but I'm here now, and like I feel all of these things. And then it's just like, at the same time, any opposition, he just rips their heads off.
And that's a big, that's kind of what I mean, where like, and again, why I hate being such a stickler, but like, at least in this case, I think for the story to work, like the book, in my opinion, is so well crafted and so like perfect that in my opinion, for it to be you either have to do something completely different, or you gotta like be very, literally like by the book, because you can't do shit like that, because he's not like overly violent in a sense of like he's just gonna just brutalize the guys on the ship or whatever. He does kill people. He kills his brother and Elizabeth. It's not like God, there's just so much shit like that bothers me. Like, I don't like the weird, like, and it feels so played out at this point. The whole Elizabeth like has the connection with him, and she's the one who sees that, there's someone that she sees him like in the basement when he's still chained up and he can barely like communicate, but she's like the first one who like, they have the moment, and then they see each other again, and then Victor shoots her, and it's like, God damn it. Like, and then like, I feel like 3 different fucking characters tell Victor, you are the monster. Like, what are we doing? Who fucking wrote this? This feels so, there's so much shit in this that feels so like grade school bullshit, like fan fiction.
Yeah.
And why it's so jarring when there's moments that feel like they're part of a something better, and then there's so much dumb shit that is like the most basic story. I don't know, if like that shit felt like a parody. Like,
yeah,
I think when it get like, I feel like one or two people had already said this to him, but then when his brother dies, when his brother dies and he like goes up to him and he literally says to, like, it's like the last thing he says is like, "You are the monster." Ugh. Like it felt like a joke. I hate that like the Universal monster movies are so influential, because I feel like even this movie is influenced by something like that. Like, it still has to kind of play like that a little bit.
It has to give people things that they're like familiar with, because when you say Universal monster movies, you're thinking like the Boris Karloff. Yeah. The like those are like so iconic that it's like it's like part of people's like cinematic language, that it's like they need to see at least some sort of like hint of that to be like, oh yeah, this is like a Frankenstein movie. I recognize this thing. I will say though, have you seen those?
Yeah, I've seen Frankenstein. As far as the Frankenstein ones, I don't know if there's more, but I've seen Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, and then I've seen a handful of the other
because
Universal ones.
During Halloween week, Wealthy put on Bride of Frankenstein, and I went to go see it. I haven't seen the original one, but I saw Bride of, and yeah, a lot of that stuff was there. Like the like, as soon as anyone sees him, like they're hysterically screaming and running away because he's so ugly. And the Boris Karloff Frankenstein is nowhere near as articulate as the Jacob Elordi one. But one scene that is in Bride of Frankenstein is the scene where he goes and he visits like the blind man. Okay,
that's in that one. It's been a long time since I've seen that. Yeah. I remember liking Bride of Frankenstein though. Yeah.
So that I feel like that scene, it's like more played for laughs, because the idea is like the blind man can't see him, so he can't be scared of how hideous he is, because he, as far as he's concerned, it's just another guy that's at his house. He's like, oh yeah, no, yeah, come on in, like we're friends, right? And he gives him like a cigar and he smokes it, and he gives him like whiskey and he drinks it, and the Boris Karloff is like, smoke. Drink, and it's like he's puffing the cigar, and it's kind of played for laughs. But there's this shot, like there's this tender moment that happens where I think they go to bed, and I don't know if it's like the first time that the monsters ever like slept on anything other than probably like the ground or the floor. But like there's a scene where Boris Karloff is like laying on the bed, and like a single tear rolls down his cheek. And I was like, this is Bride of Frankenstein. This is like, you know, this is that movie. But there was that moment where I was like, oh, holy shit. Like that kind of got me. That like kind of hit me a little bit. And then the rest of the movie plays out, and, you know, the house gets burned down because some people show up and he's so ugly that they have to kill him. And, you know, the rest of the movie happens. But I was like, that kind of stuff was present a little bit in that movie, and like I really liked that.
I remember liking that one. I'm honestly like, I like a lot of those Universal ones as, you know, historical artifacts, but they're not the most interesting movies. And like, as far as an adaptation, the original Frankenstein is like insulting. It's like, it's so incredibly off the mark if you're looking at it as a book adaptation. If I was somebody who was like a fan of the book and that movie came out, I would be fucking pissed. But as it is now, it's like it's like completely separate from the book. Really, it is its own thing because it's such an iconic movie. But like,
and it is funny.
The fact that he is just like a bumbling, like monosyllabic, if that even, like just stupid monster the whole time. It's ridiculous. It is like everything that the book isn't. And there's a scene in that first Frankenstein movie that I always think of in relation to the book, where he like there's a girl like playing by a pond, and he goes up to her, and she's not scared of him. She's like, fine. They're like playing, and I think what she's doing, she's like picking like flower, like the heads off of like flowers, and like tossing them in the water. And then she like gives him a flower, and he like does it, and then he's like he's like, oh yeah, and he's like clapping or whatever. And then he looks, and then he looks at her, and he picks her up and throws her into the water. Like, oh, now we're gonna do it with you. And then she drowns. In the book, she's drowning, and he saves her because he's a good. Innately, he's a good person. And then when he takes her out of the water, and he like brings her back to her family, and then they shoot him, and that's just like it's used as another example of his alienation. Right, from humanity, but the movie's just like, yeah, no, he's a stupid monster. Of course he kills her. Who gives a shit?
Oh, but on the Google Docs note, you said something about hot monsters.
Oh yes, right, yeah. So obviously, yeah, Jacob Elordi is the monster in the new one, which is kind of what sparked this. But Kalia was bringing it up to me the other day. Anyway, I don't remember if it might have been because of this, but I feel like we watched. Oh, because we're watching the It show too, the one on HBO, Welcome to Derry.
Yeah.
And apparently that's another one that people want to bang Pennywise, that bulbous headed buck-toothed freak. Like, so then she was like asking me like, are there? Well, no, I don't. I was trying to think, and she was like, I don't think there's any. Like, what? I'm trying to think of other ones that she brought up that people like at her work more specifically, but then just like online generally. Like, yeah, people say that. Which honestly, like, yeah, I feel like they kind of made. Like, he still is. The Jacob Elordi Frankenstein, which again, it's like, just make an ugly Frankenstein. He's supposed to be hideous.
Yeah.
But they do make him like hot boy. Like he's just like, he's hot boy, but he's got some scars and some discoloring. But otherwhy, he's kind of a movie hot boy. So that one kind of makes sense.
Abs. He's ripped.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, he's fucking built. So in a sense, I'm like, yeah, I get that, but it's like, does that one even count? Kalia said that the only one she could think of is when she was a kid, she had a crush on the Crypt Keeper. She
Interesting.
I was like, I don't believe that, but she insisted that she was being serious. So, like, okay.
Ugh.
Then I was like, I was trying to think. I don't know if I could, if there were any, that I was like, are there any monsters that I would bang? Because her argument, and what I think is true, is people don't want to bang Pennywise, they want to bang Bill Skarsgård.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
But she said that she asked her coworker, and she was like, she said,
who's Bill Skarsgård?
No, but she was like saying, no, I want to bang Pennywise. I'm like, okay. So, in that context, are there any movie monsters that you what is it? Pass or smash or pass or whatever.
Smash or pass.
Then, not that I am opposed to admitting that I would smash a dude, but
Bela Lugosi.
I mean, damn it. Do vampires even count? Like, you can't count like Edward Cullen,
the guy from like Nosferatu, the like super tall German dude.
Yeah, that's another one. The Bill Skarsgård Nosferatu. People say that he's hot too.
Yeah,
like, that's fucking bullshit. He's like has an open rib cage.
But you see his dong.
I guess, yeah, you see his dick. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the monsters, like the classic monsters, are dudes, like Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Like what? I was like the only. I'm sure there's more. There has to be more. But the only female movie monster I could think of that's played by a woman. Is Pinhead in the newest Hellraiser. That's played by Jamie Clayton. And like Jamie Clayton, sure, like I think she's really attractive, but I don't want to bang that Pinhead. Like, no thanks. Like, there's a difference.
I mean, canonically, the whole thing with like the Cenobites and Pinhead is that it's like kinky shit, but it's like the last thing you'll ever do.
Yeah. And there's other female Cenobites too, but still, like, I don't know.
There's a new Bride of Frankenstein movie coming out with like Jessie Buckley in it, and I'm like, Jessie Buckley's kind of hot. I liked her in Men.
But is she hot in the movie? I haven't seen like the trailer.
I do think that her Bride of Frankenstein is, I think it's her and Christian Bale who plays Frankenstein in that.
Oh, okay.
I think is it just called The Bride? Yeah, The Bride ! Exclamation point. Directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. Yeah, she's made a few. I think she's. I don't even know if she's acting anymore. She might have fully switched to directing, because I feel like she's been making one every year or every other year for a little while. Or even like old Bride of Frankenstein. It's like, look at like the female monsters are made like you look at like, you know, from the 30s. That Bride of Frankenstein next to Boris Karloff, who's like square head, stupid hair, and then she's just like has lipstick and mascara, and she looks like a pretty woman.
She's got lightning streaks in her hair.
Yeah, she's got crazy hair, but
but she's just like a pretty lady.
Yeah. I did say there is one that they don't make pretty is Monster, is Charlize Theron in Monster, but I don't know if that really counts.
That's a movie Monster.
Yeah. And no, I would not. Charlize Theron, but then this is the difference that I'm saying. People gotta admit, it's like
she would smash you with a hammer, is what Eileen Wuornos would do.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's like a thing that was like kind of a topic of conversation. I think it was after that Ted Bundy movie came out with Zac Efron, where there was like a whole subset of like true crime podcast women that like were like, yeah, I want John Wayne Gacy to like blow out my back walls, and it's like, what are you talking about?
What?
But I don't think anyone was like someone probably thirsted for John Wayne Gacy. Probably, but it's like, there was
Ted
like a whole
Bundy for sure, but
it's like, you look at like Ted Bundy, and it's just like I don't think he's particularly like hot. I mean, maybe with like his beard, he kind of looks like a 70s dude, where it's just like, I don't know.
He looks like standard, like he would be like the hot guy around the small town that you grew up in.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but not like exceptionally, but
yeah.
Your friend's hot dad. He would be the hot dad of the group.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know. I'm like, there's like a weird thing that I feel kind of attracted to him, but I don't know why. It's like deep in the pit of your stomach. But yeah, I know. And then I don't know. I think people were like thirsting after the guy who plays Ed Gein in like the new Ryan Murphy show.
Yeah.
But I forget who that is.
Charlie Hunnam.
That's who it is. And then, hey, I mean, even like the other Ryan Murphy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Evan Peters. I feel like people,
for sure.
So it's like, I don't know. But then again, is it because it's Evan? But Evan Peters kind of looked like Dahmer. That's like the resemblance was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a weird phenomenon.
Yeah, I don't know much about. Yeah. I'm still, all the ones that I'm seeing are like mainly like old movies, and So I want. It's hard to find like like monsters, like a Freddy Krueger or a a Pinhead, I guess, or like Leatherface or something like that, but a woman, like
Jason
one that is
Voorhees'
not
mom.
just. Yeah, sure, but no, I'm saying like again, she's just a lady. She literally is just a lady. I want more female makeup disfigured things so that I can look at it and be like, would I? And I won't. I'm pretty sure I would say no, but I just want to know. Tiffany the doll from Bride of Chucky. Ooh. The ghost from The Ring. Yeah, most of these are just ladies. Ooh.
What's that?
Mrs. Ganoush from Drag Me to Hell.
I was gonna say, who's that like really tall lady in like the hallway in that was it Pulse or was it
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I do. No,
because she's in the movie. And
yeah.
Did you ever see the movie?
No.
It's solid for like how much they could have fucked up a movie version of those books. It's really solid, and the like makeup and VFX work on the monsters is pretty great. It's really good.
that scene
is proper creepy.
Yeah, I've seen like the clips of that scene, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's unnerving.
Did you say you watched Pulse though last year?
I did, yes.
This is the lady that I was thinking of.
I figured you were talking about that scene, yeah. I don't know if you ever see her face though, but sure, you know.
But that's just like a lady.
It's got legs, yeah.
But I guess she does do like she kind of like runs down the hallway.
Yeah, I think that's basically does, as clear a look as you get over.
She does the thing that the one kid does in Cabin Fever, the pancakes kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think there were any like female monsters in The Descent? Do you think any of those little creatures down there were ladies?
Maybe, probably, right? They gotta reproduce. So, is that just like when there aren't like people cave diving, or is it just like a normal community?
Yeah, they're just like they're just chilling, just hanging out.
Yeah. Seriously, everything you go to is just man. Jeez. Women are sexualized in movies. This is weird.
We're breaking news here.
I'm gonna see what are there any hot female Cenobites that I would bang? Because there are, just like in the background. They're so creepy.
Doesn't one of them have like a weird like neck vagina thing?
Yeah, that's the one from the first one.
Yeah.
That's the Whisper, I think. Or there's one that they kind of do one like her in the new one, but I think she's called the Gasp. So she's technically a different one. Wow, that one, I don't think that one is normally a woman, but they gave it boobs. I feel like there's one from the third one that I was like, that one's... Oh no, is it that one? No, thanks. At least in terms of Cenobites, which are the only female movie monsters that I can find that aren't just normal hot ladies, I would say pass. Yeah, I thought the one from the third one, but like her whole head is like split open, and I'm like, no. And it's like tied to her shoulders. These movies are cool.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. When are we gonna get ours?
Yeah, exactly.
That is what I was thinking of. Oh yeah. Wait, the Chatterer isn't a girl, is it? They gave him boobs too. Who's doing that?
We're putting tits on all of them.
I mean, I guess that they're all technically supposed to be androgynous, so
yeah, I guess so.
I guess they can all have boobs technically. Yeah, Butterball, give him some big old tits.
Great.
Oh, but I will say, on a positive for this movie, legitimately, and an example of changing something from the book, and still making it work, was the ending. The ending with them like on the ship, and they reconcile before Frankenstein dies, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna go live or whatever.
Yeah.
That is completely different from how the book ends.
Oh.
And it leaves the characters on a completely different, like in all aspects, it's like completely different.
Interesting.
Other than Frankenstein still dies. Frankenstein's, yeah, it's you've had 200 years to read it, so other than Frankenstein still dies. But as far as like them like reconciling and like all that stuff and like it's completely different. But I really liked it. I like the ending of the book, but I also really liked how it ended in this one. And like, again, completely different, but it still worked. So it is possible. Like I said, you don't have to do everything. Right. I wasn't upset because it didn't end the same way. I thought that was a really effective ending. That was maybe like my favorite part of the whole movie. Like the most affecting part of the movie to me, was their reconciliation, despite how unearned I felt it was in the context of the movie.
Yeah.
But with me drawing from like if I was like, maybe in my head, I was pretending that this was preceded by the book.
Right.
And then you get that ending and I'm like, oh, that's really great. I really like that. We're, so next week, next episode, we're going to do our Christmas episode, and then the one after we'll do a Christmas dud, which is closer to whatever. So we're doing a Christmas movie next episode, and that Christmas movie, God damn it, is Black Christmas from 1974, directed by Bob Clark, director of A Christmas Story and Porky's. Yeah, pretty crazy.
What a storied career. One of the most generic names I've ever heard, too.
Yeah. Oh, and Baby Geniuses. I was like, I know there's one more in there. Baby Geniuses, too. And he did Baby Geniuses, too. Super Babies.
It was like his last movie. I mean, Blonde and Blonder, I guess.
Or Karate Dog. But anyways, yeah.
Cool.
All right, sweet. So watch Black Christmas, the original one, for the love of God. Make sure it's the original one. Before the next episode. These episodes come out on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. EST on YouTube in video form, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And look at that. This is on my Google. That's my phone. Just an example of my phone listening in on me. That's Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh my God. I guess you got to go watch it now.
I guess so.
I don't like that.
Yeah. It could be because I was like, I watched Frankenstein. I was like,
yeah.
So it might not be that fast, that quick on the draw. But yeah. With all that said, I am sitting in here doing the podcast, and my cat has not stopped meowing at me. I think he wants to play with his hair tie, so I throw it to him, and look, he's back again. He's an idiot. I will call him 2 brain cells. 2. That's my
2 of brain.
Yeah, 2 cells. 2 cells. Yeah.
2 cells is good.
And I'm TJ, with me as always.
Shit. As always, I'm gonna go find a book to rip a page out of to wipe my ass with. I guess. And I'm Nick.
And happy Thanksgiving, America.
Wahoo!
You piece of shit.